You see, for our own activities in Islamic work generally, and especially in Islamic philanthropy and work, we need to have that 13%, 15%, 20% annual increment, isn't it, in impact? In other words, we need this Bill Gates mindset that we make our own product. When he did Microsoft, he said, we will make our own products obsolete before others do it for us. Do you understand this?
Yes. That means he will
improve on daily basis, on weekly basis. Otherwise, others will make our project irrelevant. But if you start a project today, and after 6 months or after 1 year, you have improved it by 20%. After another year, by 5 years, you have improved it 100%. It is no longer the project you started. It has left the initial state to something far better. I will explain. So you need to have a target of constant improvement. In Habibiyah, in WAQFiyah, in whatever, we need this improvement consistently. Why do you think that you will buy a phone, a handset, isn't it, today? And after 3 months, they have, how is clear? Yeah, because if they don't do that, there will be Nokia. Remember Nokia? They will become Nokia. They will become BlackBerry, isn't it? Because they were not improving, and then others came and phased them out of the market. So we need constant improvement in our own. If today we have impacted on 1,000 people, next year it should be impacting on 1,200. And the next year it may be on 1,500. If today we mobilize 1 billion naira resources, the next year it should be 1.5. There should always be what? Improvement. Man istawa yawmahu fahuwa maghbun. Man istawa yawmahu fahuwa maghbun. Don't allow your 2 days to be equal. Today should always be better than yesterday.
There's change of taste also.
Sorry?
I said there's change of taste.
Yeah, of course, change of taste, change of priority, change of this, change of realities even.
So
yeah.
If assuming we are able to scale through what you just mentioned lastly about millions naira is quantitative.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the quality aspect of it. For instance, if after you have used the dawa and WAQF activities to improve in health, water, shelter, and other things that we intend to do, so should we say that if you now venture into like supporting, yesterday Imam said something about monitoring election with WAQF, is that one allowed?
Yeah, if someone makes a work and say it is that so that there will be good governance, it's allowed. The only thing is prioritization. Is it supposed to be a priority? Then we discuss. If it is, go ahead. I hope it's clear. In a society where good governance, you are sure if you do that, good governance will solve many problems. Then you do a work for that, no problem. Any need of the society can have its own work. Only that try to prioritize. In Islam, there is priority. Quranically speaking, Sunnatically speaking, isn't it? Historically speaking, the Quran will say, أَجَعَلْتُمْ سِقَايَةَ الْحَاجِّ وَعِمَارَةَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ كَمَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ وَجَاهَدَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ لَا يَسْتَوِيَانِ لَا يَسْتَوُونَ عِندَ اللَّهِ. So you see, you think you can compare this act of, of righteousness with this? No, this one is better. Quran is telling you, isn't it? Among the companions, there are priorities. Among the deeds, there are priorities. I will say that. So in your own interventions, there should also be priorities. Now, trying to go to the end of the discussion, key stakeholders and their roles. We need to identify our key stakeholders in this project. We have scholars and imams. I've been talking about imams, and that's why the only person standing is imam. Advocacy. Imams will do a lot in terms of advocacy. But then we need to do advocacy to the imams, therefore. Isn't it? Because many of our imams, you go to them, you ask them about work, they don't know. Or at least they don't know it beyond building a mosque and probably a well or Quran in the masjid. So we need imams to do advocacy after we do advocacy to them. We need fatwas from imams on specific issues related to specific awqaf. We need to train the imams for that, and therefore we need to provide them with ready-made material that they can read and understand it quickly. We need also imams to do khutbah. You know, khutab, isn't it? On this, on waqf. Various aspects of waqf. Some imams can do series, because I know some imams that do series of khutbah. They will spend the whole 6 months on an important topic. To be talking people, it's just like a workshop. Some imams do that. It's not bid'ah, it's acceptable. Then there is a very important role for legal experts, especially in the aspect of drafting deeds, lobbying for reforms, and so on and so forth. These are some of the things legal experts can do. And then also debating any shubha that comes, isn't it, on waqf? Any misconception that arises, legal experts, especially if it is related to the legal aspect of waqf, please come out and clarify. Just as we did during the Sharia movement, isn't it? Then philanthropists, we need them to be initiating waqfs, and then to be funding assets, and to be financing waqf projects. This is their role. And sisters, women, part of their role, I'm talking about the role of women, and you're going on. No, you can go. Thank you very much. No. I'm not counting, I'm just joking, no? I'm just teasing you. Yeah. You are a philanthropist. Also, you are also a waqf worker and volunteer and so on. So whatever I say is related to you. Government, we need to continue to talk to the government about enabling policies and the issues of asset transfer, which usually government will help in that regard, and relevant regulations. Civil society awareness, oversight, and training. Professionals, waqf managers, they should serve as waqf managers. As we need accountants, researchers, and so on. Of course, economists and finance experts have special role here. Citizens, creating waqf, preserving waqf, promoting waqf. I hope it's clear, and defending and safeguarding the interest of the waqf sector. So this is some of the most important. Of course, there are also waqf institutions. They are also an important stakeholder, and these are the ones who will coordinate all this and ensure all this continues to happen in our society. Are we making progress? Yeah.
Yes.
Now, what are the core functions of a waqf institution? There are many, and they can be looked at from different dimensions. But at least let's discuss this. Do we need the discussion on this? Do we need this? We don't need this, according to you. I'm sure you will say we don't need discussion on this.
Let's go ahead.
Legal waqf registration and compliance. Waqf institutions can do that. Asset acquisition, maintenance, and optimization. We'll talk about this briefly. Financial accountability and audits. They will do that. Even when people do not necessarily want to give their own waqf to waqf institutions for management, we can help them with guidance and knowledge and training so that the interest of the waqf sector will be protected. Because it's not necessary that whoever makes work must give it to. He can do his work and create trustees for it, and they will manage it properly. Sharia supervision, waqf institutions should help in that regard. And then community engagement and impact evaluation. These are some of the most important things our waqf institutions should be doing.
Sorry, sir.
Can you come back? Snap it. All right. I can see people so much.
Now let's look at effective resource mobilization for waqf institutions.
I'll make sure I'll place it today. I'll share the link.
We need to start public donation campaigns, packaged. There are project-based mobilization. We package a project or customize a project. We do our own cost analysis, isn't it? These are the benefits of it. These are the objectives. This is the cost, and this is the timeline required. This is the account number, isn't it? that you can donate. So we need public donation campaigns through different ways. We need institutional partnerships. Our work bodies and NGOs can work together to mobilize resources, for example. With time, we'll come to a situation whereby we will have organizations that specialize in fundraising for WAQF. It's part of the things in the future some people can think of doing, isn't it? They are experts. Just like you have, what is it, with pay, now there is one platform, something pay, is it?
OPay,
Not
OPay,
OPay,
PAMPay.
not PAMPay. It's Islamic.
Islamic.
Is it Sadaqah pay or whatever they call it? No. What they do is, what is it?
Helper.
Now what?
Helper is
No,
also
something pay. It's not Samsung pay. Anyway, what they do is they will help you mobilize resources on your behalf. I mean, because they have the platform and strategies, and then whatever they have, there's some percentage on.
helper. Helper too is
This is the Islamic. I'm talking about the Islamic one.
it's
Okay, I don't know that
also owned by
Okay. Not owned by Muslim, but Islamic.
Islamic.
They are two different. There is Muslim. There is a Muslim school, and there is Islamic school.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Crowdfunding and online platforms. These are some of the most reliable ways now. People want to see your website. What do you do? What are the interventions you have done? These are the ones ongoing projects, and this is how to donate to each. Real estate endowment. Here, historically, if you look at AL-HABIBIYYAH, the most important areas of the investment of AL-HABIBIYYAH was real estate and agriculture. If you look at even at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you see agriculture and real estate. The companions, most of them did work of homes for their own families. So this is real estate. But then the Bayruha firm of Abu Talha was a garden. The Mukhayriq WAQF was what? Farmlands, isn't it? Or gardens. So agriculture and real estate. So real estate is one. And look at Abuja here. And look at Nigeria. Look at the housing deficit in Nigeria, for example. Isn't it? And investment in real estate involves this. So we can provide housing solutions and make money, isn't it, through our CAF. We can also do these shopping complexes, isn't it, and plazas. Very big ones. They generate a lot of resources. It's one of the most important areas.
Yes, sir, before you go further, in that area, government is allowed to engage like in ordinary business class. When you want to engage in a business, you use financial tools to ascertain the financial what the one is that
Viability.
Yes, viability among those businesses. So I think it is allowed to in the work.
You see, anything that will promote the interest and viability and profitability of the work is allowed, so long as it doesn't contravene Sharia. So it's not, you bring all your knowledge of financial management and remove the non-Sharia element of use it.
Okay, you must involve Sharia. Consider Sharia.
Yeah, no, and considering Sharia in two ways. There is the most important is you ensure it doesn't contravene Sharia. I hope it's clear, because any transaction is originally halal. So the transaction you do in financial institution is halal, so long as they don't have some elements that are against the Sharia. So if there is a riba, you remove it. If there is gharar, excessive speculation, you remove it. If there is maisir, gambling, you remove it. I hope it's clear. If there is darar after gharar is speculation. Darar is harming others, isn't it? So if it harms others, try to remove the harmful aspect. If there is eating other people's wealth unjustifiably, remove it. Minus all this, it becomes Islamic. How is clear? Or if there are specifically prohibited transactions like dealing in alcohol, you remove pork, you remove it. So, but if you are a good manager of, assets, you have been managing real estate assets and they are making profit, And the way you do it has no anything that is against the Sharia. Just bring it and continue what we like to eat. Isn't it? That is it.
Halal compliance.
Yeah, halal compliance. Or Sharia. Yeah. Then grants and other sources. We look for any source that is Sharia compliant and bring resources to work, including, of course, returns from investments, isn't it? Which we'll now briefly talk about. Now, there are different ways we will invest work of assets. Of course, if we have real estate, is already an investment of itself, isn't it? But then one of the ways we will use work resources is ijara, leasing. You have resources, you can build rentable homes, isn't it? Estates. You can build rentable plazas, shopping complex, plazas and shops and whatever. All these are invest and then you give them out on renters based on the ijara contract, isn't it? Leasing contract. This is one of the best ways our CAF have been doing. And when I was reading about this, I found that experiences in Middle East and Southeast Asia and other parts of the Muslim world have shown that with proper planning and cost-benefit analysis and proper due diligence and so on, experience has shown, at least based on one of Khalid Rashid was the leading scholar of Waqf in the world, especially from the perspective of legal and investment aspects. He said experiences in the Muslim world on Waqf has shown that with proper consultation and proper due diligence and so on, if you invest in real estate, in 5 years they were able to recoup the resources invested, and after in the 6th year they will start talking about profits. It may not necessarily be the same today in Nigeria because markets are usually volatile and they change. But one reality is that at least sometimes it may be after 10 years, it might be after 20 years, whatever is the case, you make profit, because if you already invest and if it is strategic, then it will continue to give you returns. I hope it's clear. So we can go for this, is very important. We can also apply the Murabaha contract, where, for example, we have work resources, and especially in the case of where cash is given for work. You have cash for work, or cash work. Our brother would not like us to say cash work. We'll say the difference between work of cash. Sometimes there are semantics actually. I don't want us to. The whole world uses the word cash work for cash donated for work, so it's not a big deal. You know, al-ibratu is not in the musamma, isn't it? The whole world uses that, so there is no. It's not a big deal when you say it's cash work, isn't it? Whenever you donate your work in cash, then we call it cash work, no problem. Now, when we gather resources, and it's important we have this collective work, especially when it comes to the issue of cash work, or when it comes to the issue of funding big work projects. So we do work shares, for example. We say, okay, we have a project of building a school for a community that requires a school, or we have a project of buying dialysis machine. That's as a WAQF. That will be managed as a WAQF to solve that problem. In state A or B, the entire state there is no dialysis machine. So if someone needs a dialysis, he or she has to be taken every month a 7-hour journey to so place. But the machine is 300 million only. We cannot necessarily get one person who can give us 300 million. But we say we want to do a public offer for a work, and the per share is 10,000 naira, or 5,000 naira, or 1,000 naira per share. So we need people to invest in this work. 1,000 naira. Somebody will give 100 million. How many shares? So shares. I will clear. Somebody will give 3,000 naira. So 3 shares. At the end, when we are able to raise these funds, then I know my share in this work is 3,000 naira, and this share is donated as work, isn't it? And then I don't expect the profit to me. Go and buy the dialysis machine. Then, in order to ensure sustainability, we say, okay, we have a dialysis machine. You pay how much to do one?
Let's say 100,000.
100,000 naira. Then we say we will subsidize it because it's a work, isn't it? And you pay 20,000 naira. We need this 20,000 naira for maintenance, but then we keep it and for personnel and for this, and probably part of it will be kept for Allah knows. Or it is 100,000 naira, okay, we say people should pay 30% or 40%, so that some percentage will be kept. Probably after some time we can buy from the savings another machine in another place. I hope it's clear. So we can do this. So so we can use this method. But then
if you let's say you now use a share, are they going to be given certificates?
yeah, we can give certificate of share, but certificate of WAQF share, that I am part and parcel of the investors here. Where am I going to get my dividends? I hope it's clear. Dividend sharing is not by human beings, it's by the creator of human beings, inshallah. So, but we can, when somebody gives cash work, how do we invest that? How do we use it? We have different ways, at least three. At least we have 3 ways to use cash work. One is empowerment through cash, through Qard Hasan, interest-free loan, benevolent loan to people whom we want to empower. For example, we have a skills training center, skill acquisition center, that trains girls and boys in different skills. Some of them computer, some of them computer repairs, some of them software development, some of them tailoring, some of them this. After they have been trained, they need capital, isn't it? We don't give you sadaka capital. We say, okay, bring your proposal. Each of them needs between 150 to 200,000 or 30,000 or whatever. Then we give you a Qard Hasan, interest-free loan. Go, this is cash. Go and use it wherever you want. I mean, do business, and every month you bring 5,000 naira until you repay without interest. That is one way to use cash work. Or work of cash, if we are using our brother's argument, isn't it? We got 100 million naira cash work. Instead of that, we have trained them. They need tools. Okay, we buy the tools, but we don't give you free. We put 10 naira profit and 10% profit, and we sell to you, and you pay in installments. This is to help us ensure that in case there are some failures, isn't it, in the payment, the profit will cover whatever might be lost, isn't it? If there are none, then the 10% can grow and become additional money that can be given to others also. I hope it's clear. This is another way. So that is where we use murabaha contracts. But then we can also use mudarawa where applicable. If we know there are no risks, we have trained them on poultry farming. We have trained them on fish farming. We say, okay, let's do mudarawa. We bring the money, capital 100%. We buy the tools, we buy everything, we buy we invested 1 million naira. The investment is fully by us. Go and manage it. And whatever is generated will be shared between us and you. 70-30, 60-40, 50-50, 40-70 in favor of whomever we want, based on mutual agreement. I hope it's clear. When there is loss, we bear the loss because you didn't put a cover. But you also have a loss. The time you spent, the energy you have expended, isn't it? And the expected profit that you have not gotten. is your own share of loss. But that is when we ensure that there is no negligence. But if we see, he said poultry, he said, wallahi, we bought 100, the chicken, and unfortunately, 20 have died. No, my friend. The moment one dies, show us the dead chicken. Isn't it? We have someone who comes and monitors. We have this and that. Or we know we have an agreement of mudaraba with you. We say, don't go for poultry. We know poultry is risky. Go for fish farming. How is clear that go for fish farming, so that at least when they die, they have reduced our work. Isn't it? And you say, we have restricted mudaraba with you. And then you decided to go for poultry without our knowledge. And there is failure. We have to bear it because you have gone against our own agreement. I hope it's clear. Or we said, do business in Abuja, don't go outside Abuja, but do any Sharia compliant business. Mudaraba. Whatever we get, you give us 20% or 30% or 40 or 50, depending on what we agree on. And the next time, you go to Lagos. Because you had that, you can get it in Lagos cheaper and make more profit. Unfortunately, armed robbers took all the monies. You have to pay because you have gone against what? The agreement. So we can use this as one of our own ways of investment. But then, as I said, real estate is one of the most important ways we can invest. And we have talked about this and commercial property development. Number 3 is sukuk. If we don't have the capacity to manage our own funds, and there is an offer of sukuk by either federal government or other private organizations, and they tell us that we can invest 10 million naira and generate 16% profit per annum, and they will give us half of the 15 every 6 months. That's how usually they do. We have our 100 million, we have 1 billion naira. If we calculate and we are satisfied that the percentage given as annual returns is okay for us, then we take it there. It solves our problem of continuous management where we invest. I hope it's clear. This is one of the most lucrative ways to do that. Sukuk. Yes. Yeah. So they will say that the project is for 10 years, and you put 100 billion, and every year you get 16%. That means with 100 million, every year you get 16 million. Are you okay? It's a good thing? Yes? Okay, invest the money there. How is clear? Do you have a better way to invest that is also safe like that? Yes, and Sharia compliant, yes, go there. Consult fund management companies like 117, like Lotus, like others. Compare their own rates, isn't it? This one will give you 20% per annum. This one will give you 27 per annum. Which one are you going? Certainly you go to the 27. And that's where it's important you have financial consultants that you consult who will give you the options, will look at the options available and help in that. Then agricultural work. Do you know that in Nigeria, we don't produce up to 30% of the required debt in Nigeria? Do you know? Are we aware of this? In Ramadan, everybody looks for debino. Outside Ramadan, somebody like me would always like to use debino, debt, isn't it? But Nigeria doesn't produce, in fact, Nigeria produces far less than 30% of the demand. But we have vast arable land. Can we now say that through our WAQF, we can collaborate even if we don't have land in Abuja? We can collaborate with our WAQF organizations, isn't it? Or other fund management organizations that are Sharia compliant or bodies in Gombe, in Sokoto, in Jigawa especially, for example, to have 10 hectares of land. So this of land. And then we do the required prudence and due diligence and have proper management, isn't it? We can use technology today to be monitoring what is going on there on daily basis. And then we do that. If you have 10 hectares of dead, trees, my friend, how much are you making? Huge amount. One measure of date is how much? Last Ramadan. 6,000. How many bags will you get from a single tree a dead tree? Bags. So it makes a lot. Or We look at mango production, for example, or cashew, which has large market. They have cashew and so on. It's better you go for orchards where you have these fruit-bearing trees than you do rainy season farming of maize and rice. As far as I'm concerned, these ones are more in terms of management and monitoring and so on. It's better. And security, yeah, it's better. If you go, you put your CCTV cameras in there, so that the guardman will not be fluctuating, isn't it? And so on and so on.
That's what the name of
Check the dictionary. And then profitable joint ventures with Sharia compliance. If there are joint ventures you can do, for example, we have resources, we have a project that we want to finance, it's 100 million, and we only have 30 million. Look for other similar sister organizations, isn't it? So that we do a joint business and then we make our profit and share profit. I think this is also one of the areas that will help us in this. I don't know whether we are making some progress in line with something. Now, I talked about corporate governance. We need transparent board composition and clear mandates. Very important. We need checks and balances, audits, policies, internal controls. Everybody that is related with you should know that these are the rules governing this, and with details. We have internal control, conflict of interest policies, policies that clearly explain no-go areas, roles, responsibilities, and costs of things. Everything that will ensure that a person cannot personalize the organizational and organizationalize the personal. Personalize the institutional and institutionalize the person. So we need to ensure that this is taken care of very well with clear explanations in our own guiding policies. Disclosure, transparency. We are a public organization where people send in money as donors. So it's not a big deal for our own audited account to be public. After all, there is no problem. Beneficiary reporting, ethical leadership and risk management. We need that, and so on and so forth. Ensuring risk management. Before we go into anything, we ensure that risk analysis is done. What are the possible risks and how do we actually mitigate them? Then we need to go for high impact WAQF interventions. We have talked about this: free clinics and maternal health centers, education works, scholarships, libraries, schools, micro grants, and skills training for widows and youth. We have done this and it has really shown us that there is a lot to do and it will make impact. WAQF farms and food banks. This is something that has been done in Muslim history, and other organizations are even doing this in Pakistan, for example, Ahuwat. Solar energy WAQF for rural electrification. These are peculiar things that can help our own societies. No need to discuss this, I'm sure, since you mentioned yesterday, they talked about other countries. But what we will see from other countries, especially Malaysia, now Indonesia, Turkey, especially these countries now, is that we see one of the things required and what are in existence, there are clear legislation and institutional support. Government is there supporting them. We may not have this now in Nigeria, but we can work towards entrenching that. But my belief is that we have to do the homework, the groundwork, make our organizations stronger. One day, inshallah, we'll get there, inshallah. Centralized digital WAQF registries, public trust through transparency and reporting. This is what you see in these countries. Government, private, and community synergy. We need to synergize with the government. We are the private now, isn't it? We need to synergize with the government and the communities. Integrate national development plans. Whenever the government says there are projects related to this, study this project. What are the objectives? What are the priorities? How do we come up with? That is what they are doing in Malaysia. The moment they say MDGs, WAQF organizations will now start, we will start seeing conferences, workshops, seminars, webinars on WAQF and MDGs. When they say it is now SDGs, they will start WAQF and SDGs. How do we ensure, And then the government said we have needs, National Economic Empowerment and Development Strategy. Now we say WAQF and the needs. When they say transformation agenda, isn't it? This WAQF and the we see how do we align this and contribute to the development of that. And the government will say, okay, these are interested in our own policies, isn't it? And then gradually you say, these are our parties. And then we work in that regard. So these are some of the things. And then about challenges, because we can't do without challenges. We have less clear legal frameworks when especially the issue of stand-alone legal framework for work. We don't have that. Of course, the bits of the legal provisions are there in Kama, isn't it? And so on and so forth. In the constitution that recognizes work, and then in the state Sharia courts and so on laws. But we don't have a stand-alone. One day we will get there where we will have something specifically for work that will address the peculiarities of work. But even without that, no problem. We can make all the required progress, at least for now. Now that we are at the relatively formative stage when it comes to the issue of work in Nigeria, at least institutionalization of work. Are you raising
I
hand?
just want to chip in that.
Okay.
We have case reports that support work.
Yeah.
Especially when it is a foundation.
Now.
Because there are cases decided even by the Supreme Court that says that even where the government has a contribution in a recognized and registered corporate entity, they don't have full control over it.
Yeah. So you can see all these bits.
It is that corporate that have all the say.
Yeah.
It is the law that governs that corporate system that will govern whatever the government has in it. So we don't have fair. That is legal announcement.
We went to programs. A brother was saying one of the major problems of work in Nigeria, legal problems. I said, my friend, Alhamdulillah, Professor Oshola is not among those who feel that there are legal problems, isn't it? In fact, we have, the only thing is, when we now get to the level where we will have a stand-alone, law, legislation for work, then all the missing links will be taken care of. And all the possible areas of, conflict with other provisions will be taken care of. But we'll get in there. Because all the people who will do the fight for us at the National Assembly or at the local assembly or at the whatever assembly are not aware of this. They need to be first educated. And one day, the program to be done by AL-HABIBIYYAH might be for the legislators, isn't it? Yes. At least selected people will be trained in one area of these are the things and so on and so forth.
Inshallah, on the 17th, you prepare for a topic, WAQF a renewal.
Inshallah.
That's the topic you are discussing on the 17th of this month.
May Allah make it easy for us.
I would suggest we target the speaker and the deputy senate president.
It might be too close. When we all launch, we'll look for them, have a special one for them. Okay. Inshallah.
If you don't have the speaker, you get the talker. Or the listener. Okay. Okay, so lack of digitization and transparency. You see, we need this area of digitization. Unfortunately, I don't see the digital people in this house. Most of the, I don't see them now. Is it the one? The one is, are you millennial or is it Gen Z or Gen Alpha? Born before, you are BBCs, you are baby boomers, Yeah. So we need to begin to think of the younger people that are work volunteers, work oriented. We need to take work to secondary schools. Yeah, we just do a program. There's something called WAQF. What is it? They know it, they understand it. You use their language. And that's why, in fact, one of the reasons why I am doing this series that I was writing in story form is because there are people who cannot read if it is long article, except if it is story. You start the article by saying, when I was to write on the Al-Majiri, you have seen it, isn't it? Yes. I wrote WAQF and the Al-Majiri reform in Modena. I started with a very controversial, not controversial, with a very new idea. Everybody that will talk is a unanimous thing that if you talk about what Al-Majiri, the origin of the word Al-Majiri is from Al-Muhajir. And the first sentence in my article is, the origin of the word Al-Majiri is not Al-Muhajir. In fact, it is Al-Mujawir. This is how it's research. It's a quotation from a teacher that I had, a scholar who died 2005. I remember in 1998 when he was talking about the problem of Al-Majiri, to us he mentioned that it is from Al-Mujawi. And he is a professor of Arabic and a great Islamic scholar and Islamic activist. All the trainings that we get in Islamic activism, most of it came from him. May Allah have mercy on him. So I started with that statement. And so whoever comes and says, what is happening? You will go and so we need to package things that are relevant for young people. And most of the best-selling books in the world are story books. So if we do it in a conversation, story, interesting, people will read. I hope it's clear. So so we need to package things for different categories of people. There are people who need ayah and hadith or waqf. There are people who are only interested in how does it work, isn't it? They don't care. They agree that if it is Islamic, then we don't need the hadith. Just show us how it works. Package messages for them, isn't it? There are digital people who are digital. Crypto. When you say WAQF tech, there is fintech, isn't it? You say WAQF tech, they will be interested. Tech, wherever they say tech, digital this and digital that. We need to look at their psychology and speak to them according to their language. So we need to digitize. In fact, there are people who will not relate with if they are not digital. So let us be digital. And digitization usually comes with transparency because we allow things for people to see. We have the challenge of poor asset maintenance. Many work assets have become unused, underused, or abandoned, dilapidated. One of the challenges is some people will give you land. For example, one of the experiences we are having now in the Crown Worker Foundation, somebody will bring and say, this is my farmland, this is my work. Given to work. This is a plot of land, it's just 50 by 50 feet or 100 by 100 feet. It's a work. In an area that is, now, the challenge is you need huge amount of resources to develop it. I hope it's clear. Or recently somebody came, a house that was built about some apartments anyway. They have reached the lintel level and that's why they stop. So you need resources to complete, I hope it's clear, and then start generating. So the issue of maintenance of assets, sometimes they give you an asset that you need to maintain. It requires continuous maintenance for use. If it is for direct use, there's a problem because you have to create resources for its maintenance. If it is an investment work, probably it's easier. So, and especially we in northern part of Nigeria, I cannot say much about others. We in the north have very poor maintenance culture. A person will have his house, but maintaining it is a problem. So, issue of asset maintenance, we need to do a lot of training and culture change, isn't it, for our people, so that we manage assets properly. Go to a masjid, someone will spend a lot of money. Masjid, wallahi, if you come and see the masjid after 1 year, you think it was built last 15 and a half years.
Let's say somebody rents an asset and he specifies that this is what I want this to be used for. And then it is not in a state that the work of management can be able to take it on. Can one, educate the person who is trying to make this donation on the need not to keep this, but maybe transfer it into, maybe sell it, get the money.
To do istibdal. There is what is called istibdal, changing the purpose or for nature of the work.
Yes.
Yeah, this one is one of the areas that have been discussed extensively. It's good, especially when a person brings a work, you need to discuss this with him. For example, when someone came and said, piece of land, about 4 plots of 50 by 50 feet together. They brought it to us as well. I said, he gave it through a brother. And I asked him, I said, talk to him. Is it a restricted work? Because these are some of these. Is it a restricted work? Let us discuss. Or unrestricted. Because in the area where he gave it, we have other plots of land like this, but we could not develop it. So he said, no problem. This is a work, and you can build a school, you can sell it, you can do anything you want to sell. Alhamdulillah. So you can now sell this one. So you discuss with the donor, isn't it? Brother, you want reward. If we take it here as it is, the only thing it can generate for us is 50 million. But there is something we can do where it can generate 100 million. Do you agree? We prove it to him. Say, we are looking for greater reward. So discussion will solve some of these problems. And if he has given you an open check, then there is no problem. Then your own team should always consider how to put it to proper use. Of course, there is ignorance and low public trust. There is ignorance about work, serious one. And we have talked about how to tackle that one. And lack of public trust, for some organizations. Alhamdulillah, WAQF institutions in Nigeria, especially those established specifically for Zakah and WAQF, and especially those that are non-governmental, actually people have a lot of trust because they try as much as possible to be transparent and accountable. And people are seeing the impact, but there is still need for more in that regard, especially the governmental ones. They lack that trust in many states. And that's why if you go to Kano, for example, for many years, Kano has Zakah and Hubusi Commission. That is the Zakah and WAQF Commission. But if you see the amount of our CAF resources, they are very negligible, 2, 3, 10, less than that. Our CAF have been given to them over these years because of that challenge of trust. But other non-governmental are doing a lot in the same Kano, isn't it? So you can see that. Then the political interference and institutional weaknesses. In fact, political interference is the greatest problem, especially the worst problem they have, especially in the governmental ones. They appoint leaders at will, they change board members at will. In fact, in Zamfara, during my research, during my research, I was discussing, somebody told me that in less than 2 years, there were, I think, about 4 different boards for the commission in Zamfara state. Governor will appoint, and some people will go and say they are not the right person, and the governor will change, and the governor will go, and governor will come, and governor will change. So this political interference, and then they bring their party people who work for their coming, isn't it? And therefore they don't look at what competence. They don't know anything about it, or they will bring one old malam who has been teaching Ahlari and Qawaidi Risala. And there are only 3 lines in Risala about hopes, isn't it? It's only something, there is something you can do. Aspects of management and corporate governance, investment, accounting, staffing, and whatever. He doesn't know anything about it. And he has never seen WAQF apart from the masjid where he prays. And they will say because he's a sheikh. And they try to reduce WAQF to just an Islamic Studies Department institution. I hope it's clear. While in reality, in a board of WAQF, if you have 5 people, not more than 2 people should be from Sharia and Islamic studies. Yes. Isn't it? You need seasoned management experts and administrators. Isn't it? You need estate management, you need investment experts and so on. Because the moment, in fact, you can do 90% of the meetings about investment of WAQF without the Sharia scholars. Yes. Until you finish, you give them to say, okay, this is Sharia compliant. I hope it's clear. Of course, their presence helps at from this initial stage to ensure that. But I'm just trying to show us that others are also very important. So this is very important. And you know, one of the things with our brothers in the Department of Islamic Studies is the moment you say Islamic, so they say it should be in the Department of Islamic Studies. We have been battling with them even in UK. Islamic International Institute of Islamic Banking. And they say Islamic, this is Islamic. I say, my friend, you don't know anything about this. You go to Department of International, if you go to masters in Islamic Banking and Finance, probably there are 1 or 2 courses expert of Sharia and Islamic studies will take. All the rest are accounting, economics, isn't it? Finance and so on. And we need to understand these things from these dimensions. Of course, me, because I am an adopted, member of the Department of Islamic Studies, whether they like it or not, some of them, anyway, because of my interest in at least Islamic studies. But I say, look, my degree, my master's, my PhD are in economics. But I know that there are things where I need sheikh. And I have to remove myself from the discussion because it requires big sheikhs. And the initial introduction of a discussion about the Islamic aspect, I will put my sheikhikal cap, isn't it? There is professorial and there is sheikhikal, So we need to understand that it is a hybrid thing that requires experts from different angles. I've not seen many sheikhs in this house, but there are some of them. There are hidden sheikhs, I know. So political interference is a very serious issue. Now, I thought of how can we, because we're thinking of agenda for that, what can we do in the next 3 years? Awareness campaigns, of course, one. WAQF manuals, training, my friend, training and training. There is nothing that needs training in Nigeria now like WAQF. Because it's something that even if you have been doing training for the last 50 years, you still need it today. But we have not been doing any training on WAQF before. So we need to do that 10 times what we think we should be doing. WAQF manuals, we need to develop manuals.
Sorry, you said training. Who are we to be training?
Training WAQF workers. Okay. Training donors about what is in WAQF. Training imams who will be our advocates. Training professionals, isn't it? Training beneficiaries of WAQF, isn't it? Because if you are to give capital to people, don't just give them the capital. Train them, even if it means a 1-hour training on how to use the capital. I hope it's clear. So we need training and retraining and retraining. Training the trainers also on how to train, isn't it? Yeah. So we need this. We need to train scholars on how to develop manuals, because some of our lecturers don't know how to write small books that will be useful for people. We can train them on anything. After all, we are by that doing capacity building. And capacity building is part of what WAQF should do, isn't it? Building the capacity of the Muslim Ummah. Developing WAQF manuals, I believe, in fact, in this area, if you are to look in Nigeria, just one book, small, on WAQF in English, you can hardly get. How many of you have ever seen any book on WAQF?
Only pamphlets.
Few. Even the pamphlets, can you remember 3 that you have seen on WAQF?
I've seen one today by you.
Before. I hope it's clear. So it's a very, very big thing we need to do. In fact, I wrote this and I translated it into Hausa, even though I've not published the Hausa one. And I wrote some small book, WAQF for Beginners. And I hope very, very soon it will be ready for them. And I'm also, in this series of articles that I'm writing, it's deliberate. I'm writing it to make it a small book also. Companion for people. If you give it to, to prospective donors, they will read it. Or people who are philanthropists, who on themselves, they will go and establish something, isn't it? So, and if you have something small, 70 pages, 100 pages, small, that is free, interesting to read, we need many and many. And then training manuals, where we'll be training people and giving them. So there is a lot that needs to be done in this regard. So this is one of the then also develop model pilot projects. You sit down and say, okay, people can do a WAQF of this and that. How, what is it, the objectives, how to do it, for what purpose. You just write it small and then go and try and pilot it somewhere. If you do it, then you popularize that people can now copy and what? And replicate in other parts. This is one of the things we need to be doing, so that people will know that these things are what? Are doable. So this is one of the areas we need to look at. Is it coming, my friend?
Yeah, it's coming up. Sir.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Then institutionalization. We need to ensure that people actually, institutionalization requires registration with the relevant authorities, isn't it? Documenting everything and so on and so forth. And then having registered offices and officers and so on. You make it like an institution rather than less formal things. Asset mapping, map and assets, digitization, governance tools, ensure that we have proper tools for the governance of the assets from A to Z. Then national integration in the next. So what I'm saying is in the first year, these are the things we should focus on. At least not necessarily in this order, but at the first year, if you are able to achieve this, then in year 2, you go for institutionalization, asset mapping, digitization, governance tools. I hope it's clear. While we continue with these ones, I hope it's clear. In our 3rd year, then we go for national integration. We are now there. Then we go to the next level. Policy advocacy. We will now begin to say, these are the things, these are the impacts, isn't it? And it's important we document every step, and especially showcasing the impact of the little things we have done. We started this project with 1 million naira, 150 million naira, and now we have been able to impact on so people, and the resources have increased to so level. People will understand it. These are the number of people we have sponsored who are now finalizing their masters in these areas and that. I hope it's clear. These are the number of girls we have sponsored to study nursing. In the last 2 years, we have sponsored 200 girls in different states of the federation, and they are now finalizing their own diploma before they go for HND nursing. For example, showcase this, and make noise about it. Then sustainability, ensuring things that will ensure that they will establish, the sustainability of our project, and then we begin to scale up. So now the model is working. We are no more talking about piloting. It is working. We have made all the required panel beating of the model. We are now good to go. We scale up what we are doing. So key action points and deliverables: establish donor workup awareness and task forces. For example, we can ensure that in all the zones, especially now that we have already workup institutions, how do we work with them to ensure that our own works are going? Create user-friendly workup handbooks. These are very important. Train 1,000 plus stakeholders nationwide. It's a target. We say we want to train 1,000 people who will be people whom, at least if you give them microphone to talk for 30 minutes about WAQF, to educate people, they can do it. Just the basics of WAQF. This is it. Answering these 5 or 6 W's. What is it? Who should do it? How? Where? When? For what purpose? Isn't it? People who can answer this in 30 minutes. We have produced 1,000 in Nigeria. It's a target we can have. Isn't it? Maybe 2,000, maybe 10,000. Map and secure 100 plus legacy workup assets. We need smart goals, isn't it? We know smart goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time dimension. So we need smart goals in this project. Initiate 6 flagship workup projects, for example. In each geopolitical zone, we say this is a workup project we have started in. So these are some of the actionable points and deliverables we can look at. Finally, I'm sure Imam is tired of my noise now. He wants to hear. And finally, let us not forget that WAQF is not just a history, it's our future. So when we talk about the history of WAQF, we are doing that to remember what our forefathers did, so that we'll do better than this in the future. Everyone can contribute to WAQF, whether big or small or medium. We need to start. We want every individual to start something. We start it collectively, we grow it, and we institutionalize it. Together, we need to build a Nigeria of our dreams. One WAQF at a time. One man, one WAQF. One person, one WAQF. Even if it is going to be a 3 WAQF every year, is very important. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
No, actually, your battery, sir.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Afamara, please, you will get him, please.
I am around. No problem.
Doctor has reminded me of what happened in 1977.
When I was
Yes. It reminded me of what happened in 1977. But don't ask me, I will not tell you. We want to thank Doctor for one thing. You know, one thing I enjoy in this lecture is that there is no quotation. We are going practical to see what we are going to do in the next 1 to 3 years. Inshallah, I think Dr. Kamal is also listening. I don't know whether you are listening. We will not only just listen. Inshallah, in the next 1 or 2 weeks, we are going to produce what we are going to do in the next 3 years based on this. And also assure you on Monday latest, our office is going to be ready. To be, you see the WAQF office of AL-HABIBIYYAH. Inshallah. I'm telling you this to know that the work has just started. And you have pushed us there. And I believe Allah in His infinite mercy will continue to promote you. Allah will continue to bless you. Allah will continue to make you a shining light, which you have been. Somebody who has been the Amir of the MSS, the Amir of MCAN, is a revolutionarist. So I'm not surprised that people have been talking about work on you before, or God has confirmed before people really reconfirm it. So Alhamdulillah, this is a very good journey. I hope many of us will have questions. Do you? Okay, let me start from you. So if you have, so Afan Barak, you don't need to talk, Jeje. We are here, all of us are here. So if you have a question, ask him and let's hear you. All right, God give you, we should learn to be standing up. Yeah, that's the hour.
because we didn't like Allah to do a
Doctor, my question is this. Because I study business admin, my diploma first degree, second degree. And when we are talking of this work, it's just like a business venture, Islamic business venture. And there's no way you talk about business without talking of risk. Is there any measure or tools put aside? Because we only discuss about sources in 3 years, 1 million to 3 million, in 4 years. Is there any measures or tools put aside? Maybe this business venture may collapse or something natural. Now maybe we invest on what of this chicken or what they call it? Poultry farming. And now naturally there's a bird flu can kill all the birds. What are the something like insurance it is allowed to at least to support us, or what are the
is insurance allowed to
yes
pushing the
effect of the disaster?
Very nice question. Thank you. What's the name? You see, Barakallahu Fika ya Mubarak. You see, that's why you need people who are intellectual stakeholders to the project. When someone studies business administration, he's looking at it as a social business that it is, isn't it? WAQF is a social enterprise. No, it's a business that you do not for your own benefit, but for the benefit of the Ummah, and the profit goes to social development of the Ummah. Now, there are so many. Every risk management strategy that you can think that works for commercial business is applicable to this social business. ceteris paribus. I'm using you because I know you are a business admin expert. You know, from level 1 to 3, we are together in the university. It is at level 3 that we part. At level 4, we part. Yes, yeah. And then when we want to do masters, then students of business admin will come and do microeconomics and macro. We are together. So your Harry Fayol principles of management is relevant. Your, Abraham Maslow hierarchy of needs are there. They are very relevant in WAQF because you need Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs in your intervention models. How do we get it? And so on and so on. Of course, hierarchy of needs is essentially the theory of Makassid Sharia online. No more knowledge. It's actually as if he copied from Makassid's principles. But Allah gives wisdom to whoever He wishes. It's possible He didn't copy it from us, but Allah opened His mind to it. Now, it's important. So when we go for WAQF, everything that will ensure the viability of our own business model has to be done. So we do, if we are investing, we do proper feasibility studies. How will you that? We do proper feasibility studies. And when we are confident that it is feasible, we go to the next level. We do profitability analysis or viability and feasibility, then profitability analysis. We ensure that there is no problem in this, it is profitable. We do our what they call cost-benefit analysis, and then we go to profitability analysis, and then possible impact analysis. Of course, we do needs assessment first, isn't it? Before anything, we do needs assessment, we do feasibility studies, we do viability studies, we do profitability analysis, isn't it? And then we do possible impact analysis, impact focus, isn't it? How is it going to be useful and impactful? Because it's the most important thing. We do all these things, and then we do comparative analysis of investment possibilities. Yeah, we have this investment, it is risk, it has more risks but more profit. This one has less risks but less profit. This has more risks, more profit, less profit. This has less risks, more profit. We do all this, and then we do a comparative analysis. And that's where we put everything on a scale of preference, isn't it? We go back to the class of economics, we do alternative analysis, we do scale of preference, and so on and so forth. We do opportunity cost analysis. All this, everything, every tool here is relevant in WAQF. And then we go and invest. And then one very important thing is diversified portfolios. Diversified portfolios is where you don't put all your eggs in one basket. This is also very important in WAQF. Diversified portfolios. Some of our own assets are invested in real estate, some in agro, WAQF, some are in Sukuk, some are with fund management companies, some are through Karat Hassan and Mudaraba and so on. Some are this, so that where there is problem there, when this door is closed, the other is open in Abwab al Mutafarrika. This is also very important. And then we takafulate all of them. Takaful of all of them. Takaful is Islamic insurance. There is whatever conventional insurance can do for you. Takaful, the Islamic insurance can do it and better. Takaful. You need to read Takaful. Takaful is the Islamic insurance, because in the conventional insurance, there are elements that are haram. All the haram elements are found in interest is there, gambling is there, maisir is there, gharar is there. But then Islamic insurance come to remove all of them and replace them with Sharia compliant elements. And we have many takaful companies in Nigeria. So it's good when we go for work, we takafulate, our WAQF assets. For example, if we do work, we do investment of our WAQF resources through vehicles, transport business. We need to do takaful of them. When we have a shop where we do sell things as WAQF investment, then we need to do takaful, isn't it? When there is fire, incident, accident, then alhamdulillah we have takaful. So this is acceptable in Sharia. So these are some of the risk management strategies. Jazakallahu khairan.
Are you raising up your hand?
one question, please.
Please, we are here for it, with the permission of Imam.
In the business circle, if you want to produce like a product, the first, second, third years, there's a possibility that there will be no profit. Even that is why NAFDAC and so when you are coming out new, there are some taxes they may
waive.
Yes.
The waive.
Now, in that first, second time, when you are beginning, how do you finance all those things? Is it part of the planning? Because we may not make any profit for second year. And if you need to pay the salary, all this, how do you take care of that?
Well, you see, we are a philanthropic organization. I hope it's clear. So we have resources from philanthropy that we can use already for operational costs.
Okay.
This is very important. We can make that plan. However, even if we are not doing that, in business, and the same thing applies to in work business, we need to be strategic. We must not start from big long-term investments. We can do medium-term investments. I tell you, if my business as a WAQF institution is to go for agro-WAQF, and so I want to do an orchard, where I want to have like 1,000 trees that bear fruit for me. And my target is to go for mango, cashew, and dates, and so on. If I come and plant these guys called cashew and so on, I know I need the next 3 to 5 years before I start to see fruits. If I'm clever, however, I know I can go for moringa, for papaya, what do they call it? Panda, isn't it? That requires 6 months to start fruiting or less. Or banana. Now my major target is these big ones. Or at least part of my major targets are these ones. But then, okay, I have this that I have to wait for 3 years. But then I have together with them, I can plant my banana, and in 6 months I make my money. Now in 3 to 6 months, I will begin, isn't it, to cultivate, to harvest. And with that, I can continue funding the remaining. I hope it's clear. So this is one of the things we can do. So the same thing applies to other aspects of our investment in work. Yes, we have a plaza that we want to build. It requires huge amount of money. We have the land, but it requires resources, and we will start building, and it will take us the next 3 years to finish because of the way we generate resources. Okay, keep it. Invest the money in Sukuk, for example, or part of the money in Sukuk, so that at least what we generate of 10 million every year or 2 million every year, depending on the investment, can run our activities for 1, 2, 3 years. It can take care of our campaigns and advocacy, and therefore it can help us generate more and more resources from people who have seen wisdom in what we are propagating. We need to be strategic anyway in this regard. I don't know whether I've answered your question. Yes, sir. When doctors ask questions, then you have to sit down and think.
No, it's not a question, it's just a comment. Just to be sure that I understand everything about what we've been talking about from yesterday to today. When I came, I think I had so many questions in my mind. But I think today you've been able to answer all the questions without me asking you that. And my understanding of the whole thing has changed. I think for me, it's even much more easier now. Because I see this as a Sharia compliant business with developmental and charity components there. And this is not different from what we do in the traditional development space. Because you are also going to be working for results, just like us. In addition to results, you are working for reward also. And it's very different from what we do. When Bill Gates gives you money, USAID gives you money, Warren Buffett gives you money, and say, go and improve girl child education enrollment in northern part of Nigeria. Go and reduce maternal and infant mortality in southwestern part of Nigeria. Go and improve the nutritional status of under 5 children in southeastern part of Nigeria. It's the same thing. You are going to have that organization with the requisite capacity, technical, financial, everything to be able to deliver. And at the end of the day, you are going to harvest your results and bring it to each of them and say, there, I've been able to improve girl child education enrollment by so percent. You can even align it to national priorities and global, your contribution to educational enrollment in the country or girl child education. You are going to align your results also to the national priorities for maternal mortality and infant mortality. And the same thing in Southeast. And for these people that gave you this money, what they are interested in is these results. Because it is these same results that are going to take back again to whosoever it is that is giving them money also, to say we have delivered in Nigeria, we have even surpassed our expectations. If we can get twice as much as this same amount that you give us, we will deliver, we will do better even. So this is the way I look at it. So the only difference is the Sharia aspect that is not there in the traditional, what do you call it, development that we do. He asked very important questions. I would have answered even that question for him about the risk. Any business, you do your risk analysis, whatever it is, depending on what you are doing. And then you come up with your mitigation plan again. Corporate governance is everywhere. And I'm happy and I hope that people, there is tendency for people to oversimplify something when they see that it's either a religious thing or a local thing and start running with it anyhow. It requires very adequate preparation. It requires very good foundation. You do your resource mapping and see what you have and what you don't have and fill in the gaps. The technical know-how and the capacity has to be there. This is what we do. I chair the board of an organization. Sorry for taking so long. I chair the board of an organization called Technical Advice Connect. And Prof, I would recommend that you hear this because WAQF will need a similar organization also. This Technical Advice Connect is Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that conceptualized it. What happened? They have been operating for a very long time in the northern part of Nigeria especially, but they have not been getting the results that they want. The investment is not commensurate with the results. And they sat down and looked and evaluated the program and said, why have we not been getting these results? They said it is technical capacity to run this project that is lacking. If you don't have the capacity to run a project, you stand to lose 35% to 30% of your investment. So they said, okay, how do we address this? I was running one of their programs, and actually we were the ones that brought this event. So we said, what it means is that we have to find a way of addressing the capacities ahead of time, even before you go and implement. So they said they are not going to do it because already they have what they are here for. If there is any organization that can do it on their behalf, let the organization show.
So that was how Technical Advice Connect came in. And now all the donors have subscribed to it. What they do is the donors, if they come with money for anything, they will not give you directly. They will come and give it to us and say, look for an organization that knows how to prevent malaria, that knows how to control HIV and AIDS, to go and do ABC for us. And at the end of the day, you disburse our money on our behalf to them. You monitor, you do everything on our behalf.
Get the result.
Get the results. So this is what Technical Advice Connect is doing now. Most of these donors come. This is what we want to do in Nigeria, but this time around, we are not going to deal directly with the contractor. There has to be an organization that will deal on their behalf. So we have the technical know-how of managing any project. And we have a pool of organizations, like all the people that will be doing WAQF in Nigeria, you have them in a pool. And say amongst you, who has the experience of WAQF as it relates to social area? Because we have funding and we have money for that. Then all of them will compete for that. And we have an independent review panel that will come and even do the selection. It's not even us. So they select them and we give them the work they go and do. It's a risk mitigating measure also. So this is what I want to share for the benefit of WAF even. To say after some time, I think WAF has to come and probably subscribe to this kind of, and have something like this for WAF. That is a kind of organization that would be there in the middle of all the organizations doing WAF in Nigeria to make sure that they know everybody that is doing WAF and know their areas of competence, so that they will be the ones that will be recommending to say, if anybody, a donor, anybody that comes that is afraid to go and deal directly, you will come to that central organization and we'll tell you, don't worry, we'll do everything for you, we'll identify the right organization for you now. Results have changed now since the introduction of TA Connect. So I chair the board of Technical Advice Connect. Our portfolio is $200 million. Wow.
Only.
Well, I think, okay.
You want something?
Yes, just,
Okay.
just one short observation. Assalamu alaikum, doctor. May Allah reward you abundantly for these 2.5 hours thought-provoking presentation. Practical is the most important. And your last aspect is this 3-year plan for practical purposes. And me, I'm more interested in the first year: education, awareness, sensitization, and campaign. There's one thing you've been doing which is good, and I want us to assimilate it. You cannot do this education, awareness, sensitization, and campaign without concrete statistics. Concrete statistics. We need to share this. It's excellent in target setting. It's excellent in campaign and sensitization. It is very important. Please, we need to collaborate on even sharing of statistics. I rest my case.
Any other question? But I think you yourself should begin to collect your own statistics, and we can share experiences and share notes and see what we can also do better. You want to say something on that? And secondly, apart from the sensitization that he has rightly said, we are also planning on having a kind of a mosque peer review. You know, like some mosques are doing it better, and probably to encourage or to support other mosques too in doing things like this. And then that is why I think, Nudin, I think even do mosque something is much more important in the awareness now
education and awareness from the faith and philanthropy. I think it should be part of the plan. You bring the mosques together in the name that we want to share something for them to do, and it will make our work even easier. I don't know whether you understand what I'm trying to say. Director, I hope you are listening. Sure. Because so I think that is that.
Can I say something, sir?
Please, sir, not something, many things.
I initially didn't want to say anything until when Imam elaborated. You see, in my research, because in my PhD research, I tried to explore the potential role of WAQF towards socio-economic development. Of course, my focus was on northern Nigeria. No, you cannot go beyond that due to the nature of the research. One of the things I discovered was in the early literature on WAQF in Nigeria, when people started to write on WAQF in Nigeria, everybody would say there is bars and WAQF. So people will also say many, some will argue that there are no awqaf apart from schools, Islamic schools and mosques. Some will say this. Now I tried to see, okay, let me just, because my research cannot do extensive survey. But I tried to at least do some qualitative survey. I mean, try to look at what are the needs, the types of work assets that we have in Nigeria, where are they, and so on, even if we cannot have the detail of the statistics and data. So that will trigger a research about survey in the next future. And I was able to identify about 7 different categories of awqaf resources that we have, awqaf properties in Nigeria, including religious awqaf in form of mosques, Islamic schools and cemeteries, including undeveloped waqf land and how they are used, or abandoned or neglected or unused, including agricultural awqaf, including even financial resources, because some institutions like the IET has investments of financial assets in Satana, in UK and Malaysia and so on. So it's an important area. And I also try to also look at other forms, like also direct awqaf in form of orphanages, in form of others. And I was able to met and hospitals, Islam Muslim hospitals. I met just contacts on phone and so on to investigate in some of the states where we have at least, so that I will say we have some, and then proper research can be done. Nobody can tell you the number of mosques you have in Abuja, isn't it? But for the purpose of planning, you need to know this, and it shouldn't be a difficult thing to know. I know a philanthropist who is an unserious politician. When I say unserious, he talks about, but not very seriously. He is more of a philanthropist in Gombe. Everybody wants him to be the governor of, many people want him to aspire for governorship. One of the things he does is he will just sit down when there is a serious problem and look at how he can do something impactful, at least in his own way. He builds mosques, but very strategic ones. He does this and that. Now, last 2 years, when there was this serious problem of hunger, Tadanga Minji and so on, things were hard for people. He sat down. He said he wanted to do intervention in cash to people. And he formed a team. And wallahi, they were able to survey the masajid in Gombe. At least, he said, not all the masajid, but Friday mosques and so. He categorized, and then these categories. And they were able to get them list and the number of their imams and the number of their muadhins and so on, and said he will give donation of cash. Some imams 100,000, some 150, some 250, depending upon your rank and the rank of your masjid. So if someone individual can do this for us, why is it that I cannot remember any attempt, I'm not aware of any attempt to come up with the number of masajid that we have.
IET has something like that.
No. I participated in the ICT research, IET research. So I know what that means. It was not masajid they did, it's Islamic organizations. And even the Islamic organizations, they were able to get, because all the people who did the work, because then I was Amir, so I was influential, and so I used MSS connection and so on. We already have these networks. Now, if you want me to get people for you in all the states of Nigeria, It's a matter of 2 seconds. I try to check and say, so state, contact Mr. A or B. We can do this. And that's why Nuru then contacted me. He said, Amir, please. I said, no problem. In all the states, go meet Mr. A. I called him and gave him, please try to get the Islamic organizations. We did the work even though it didn't continue. So these are some of the things that are important for planning sake. When we went to the UK in 2016, we went 2015 and 2016. In 2016, when we went to Derby, and the multi-faith center that they have, what do they call it? A book that contains all the name of all Islamic, religious organizations, especially Muslim organizations and others, registered, and their registration and their address and so on. So that even if it is intervention you have, you just look at organizations with their purpose. These are the organizations that do programs like this, and we can work with them. I think it's one of the things that are important. But at least we have started doing something in that regard. No, Habibiyah can finance.
Yes.
Okay. Hajia Habibiyah.
You know, let me just add. I think AL-HABIBIYYAH should be able to do this. Let me share also another experience. I used to live and work in Southern Africa, and I used to be the medical director of their infectious disease hospital there. So there was a time we had drug-resistant TB patients in the country, and is the terrible form of tuberculosis that you can have, and it was more like an epidemic even. So in our management plan, we included mapping of the patients even, so that any patient that we see, we diagnose, we map him. Mapping him means even knowing where he stays, plot the coordinates and everything. On the day he's supposed to come for follow-up to collect his medication, if he doesn't come, the ambulance driver with the nurse will trace him with the GPS. So we can do this, AL-HABIBIYYAH can do the same for the masjids. We can plot the mosques, we can put them on GPS so that if you want to even go there, GPS will take you to whichever mosque you want to do. And as Prof rightly mentioned, some of these things, we need them for planning. We need them for so many, this is information, vital information. So I think even if AL-HABIBIYYAH will take this as a project, it's going to be a major contribution.
Can I say something?
Please say something. Is it related to this?
Yes.
Please do, because I have something to tell him. I want everybody to hear that I'm telling you.
Then we will. Assalamu alaikum. Then we also have to bear in mind the categorization of the masjids, because some are in Jumat mosques, just small mosques, and the house and the mosque in the house, and then those that you just demarcated place. So I think it's important.
Okay.
Categorize them.
My work, I try to see if I can categorize the masajid. But categorization is usually depending on the criteria.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
For
So,
example, now,
Doctor, I think it's a program that we could do, but with the technical units which you are heading, probably we can get funding. I assure you, in the next 18 months, we'll give you at least all the massages in Abuja with their categorization, their phone number, their contact number, the name of their imam, the name of their muaddin, the name of the chairman, if at all there is any, and where they are on the coordinates. The mosques that are at home, the mosques that are Masala alone, the mosques that are Ratib, the mosques that are all the categories will let you know. But if you have a funding, I'll show you in the next 18 months, I will give you a document that this is the masajid in FCT.
Thank you so much, Imam. My organization, whatever money that we have with us is tied to something already predetermined. But that notwithstanding, you see, first of all, we need to ask ourselves the importance of this exercise. Why do we want to map Why do we want to locate the mosques? Why do we want to map them? If you ask me, I don't know the reasons. You have been working with them. But for me, even, it is important because I used to tell our Imam in our estate mosque there, I said, I have not seen any powerful platform that we have as the masjid. Because the Imam, anywhere, he can ask 1,000 people in the estate to assemble the Muslims there that there's a message for them, they will come. How many people have that convening power? So what it means is that if you want to convey very important information, whether it has to do with disease prevention, whether it is security, whether information dissemination and targeting people, the mosque is a very important platform, and that is why locating the mosques is very important, so that whenever there is any initiative that requires dissemination of information to people, so that will be the justification. So if a proposal can come with this kind of background and justification and so on, not only my organization, many organizations will be willing to give, because the organizations would want this info. There are so many organizations that are working with people. Where can we get people? Where can we get people and convey that? So thank you.
Some will pay to get the information.
Some will pay you.
Yes, but I think this thing is very serious. On a more serious note, I think we can actually do it, and we base it on the issue of health, the issue of
security,
communicable diseases, security, the environment. So if we, Mohammed, I hope you are listening.
Yes.
If we give it, so if we have it, we can actually write a proposal to even issue are interested in something like that. And this Gotek talk something of Germany that are always interested in Islamic something. So if we do it, we can actually propose to them. Please note it when we do our next management meeting. Let's see whether we can actually do something on it. Then I think we start with FCT. We saw the mosque in FCT, so that we can do it. We can do it, inshallah. In fact, it will also help. But beside Al-HABIBIYYAH, we have 2 programs of mosque already. We are thinking that we want to have what we call African Mosque Forum. I've mentioned it here, that all the Juma mosque will need to come together and see what we are doing, how we are doing it, what can we do better. I've started discussing with some mosques in Kenya. There's a mosque, they were 100 years old this year. I'm even expecting their message. Then I've discussed with somebody in Cameroon so that we can all come together as African mosque, Juma mosque, to promote what mosque used to do. Like, was it a program that was saying it, or doctor, that mosque is the center of everything for the Muslim. So that how do we now get all those things that are supposed to be the mosque, that we can also get there? So that is one. Then 2, we're also planning what we call mosque support service. You know what support how we call it?
Yes.
In part of our work, that we will not only go and be building mosque, we will look, mosque are not mosque, especially in the north. So we will be maintaining the mosque, we will be paying the imam, paying the muazzin. If this muazzin is also the cleaner, we'll be paying him, but if we need to employ another cleaner, that will be paying. We'll be doing that and be cleaning the mosque. Then we'll put our signboard there that this mosque is being maintained by Al-HABIBIYYAH Mosque Support Services. You can contact us, you can send your donation.
Good.
I hope at the end of the day, the government will not appoint you the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Because if you are able to bring the imams, Juma Mosque from Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, and have a meeting with them, they will clap for you.
Well,
because it's diploma. I mean, what I'm saying is it's well aligned even to priorities, to government priorities in so many areas. Because this is collaboration between even countries.
But for your information, this is one of the easiest things,
please, how?
Bringing imams from other countries.
Yes.
From Africa.
How do we do it?
I mean, connecting with them.
Yes.